Welcome to Car and Driver. We've just wrapped up our long-term test on this Honda Civic Si. Yes, we drove it 40,000 miles across the country on the commute and in real winters. Not only that, we also outfit this car for track days at Sebring International, Watkins Glen, and Virginia International Raceways. We'll go over how it did, what you could expect if you were to buy one, what we liked, what we didn't like, and how it does during a track day, bro. Let's start with how we configured this Si, which is easy because outside of a few accessories, your options really are the color, in this case, blazing orange pearl, which is about $400, and whether you want these Goodyear Eagle F1 Asymmetric 2 summer tires or not. We did, and they cost around $200. That brought the as-tested price of this car to just under 29 grand. Now, in the days of $44,000 Civic Type Rs before markup, that price makes the Si very appealing. And what's great too is everything inherently good about this car comes standard. You don't need to get an optional performance package or anything like that to unlock the car's best features. Those are a 6-speed manual transmission with automatic rev matching, a limited slip differential, and a 200 horsepower turbocharged 4-cylinder. Now, on the other hand, this car isn't exactly what you might call quick, even compared to the previous generation. At our test track, we recorded 60 miles an hour in 6.6 seconds and the quarter mile in 14.9 seconds at 95 miles an hour. So if you're the kind of person who really cares about acceleration results and bragging about those results online, this isn't the car for you. But before you click off this video, let me tell you that focusing on those results misses the point of this car and why this car is so enjoyable. When you interact with this vehicle, which is what you do every day on the commute, you don't notice the acceleration results. You feel everything else about this car. For starters, this manual transmission is probably the best shifter this side of the Civic Type R, and the rest of the car it's connected to is really enjoyable to experience, even when you're just cruising along. The steering has lots of feedback, it's overall superb, and the handling is excellent. And together, this is a package that makes even the most mundane commutes very enjoyable. So the Si is fun to drive, but there's another strength that emerged during our test, and that is the Civic Si is an affordable way to do an expensive hobby. And by that, we mean specifically track days. Everybody likes the idea of track days, but few people actually think about the economics of actually attending one. Think about it from a cost perspective. You have to pay a couple $100 just to enter. You've got to pay for the fuel to get there, do your laps, drive home. You've got to pay if you're staying at a hotel. You've got equipment to buy. You've got a cooler to fill their snacks. The list goes on and on. It can be expensive. And that's even before you consider how you actually get all your stuff to the racetrack. If you're buying a Civic Si, you probably don't have a truck and trailer to tow it with, so you're either gonna have to cut a hole in the bumper to install a hitch and get a trailer on that way, or do what we did and put all your stuff in the car. And here it is, all the stuff. We've got everything you would need to attend a track day. Well, mostly everything, we're missing the cooler, but we've got tools, we've got fluids, we've got a jack, we've got jack stands, we've got an air compressor, we've got a helmet, we've got 4-mounted wheels and tires. All of this stuff, plus the cooler, plus a driver and passenger fit in the Civic Si and made a 20-hour drive from our headquarters in Ann Arbor, Michigan to Sebring International in Florida. Best part is, all this got 31 mpg on the way. Now, before we talk about how it did on track, let's talk about how we set it up, and that requires going back to our first time testing this vehicle. We noticed significant brake fade during repeated stops from 100 miles an hour, even so far as setting the brake warning light off on the dash. Now, this isn't something that's going to happen during normal driving, but it is something we wanted to address when we were taking it out on the track. So for brake pads, we actually had to turn to Carbotech, who built a custom set of pads for our vehicle. You can read more about that story on the site. Interesting thing is they actually used our car's hardware to develop its own system for owners of 11th gen Civic Si. So all you out there watching this who own one of these cars, who plan on taking it on a track day, you're welcome. Now, as for the rest of it, we got from Tire Rack a set of OZ wheels for about $1,500. Yokohama sent us a set of Advan Neova 8009 track tires for around $1,200. And we topped it all off with Castrol React SRF Racing .4 brake fluid. With all that done, Austin Irwin made the 20-hour trek down to Sebring for a track day, and he reported that the brakes and tires made this thing a great learning tool for track etiquette and competitive driving, and how to not end up on a YouTube fails compilation. He has said, of course, that this thing was outmatched on the straights, but he did get a point buy from a C8 and a Supra, which had to feel good. After another track day at Watkins Glen, we switched the tires to Bridgestone's new RE71 RS Extreme Performance Summer Tire. Those were around $960. And then we set off to Virginia International Raceway. There, this car set a 3-minute and 11-second lap time. That's obviously not going to be an official lightning lap time around the Grand Course due to the modifications, but that's not too shabby either for a 200 horsepower front-wheel drive Honda Civic. In total, those Carbotech brake pads, the high temperature brake fluid, gave this thing plenty of durability to last a few laps. The limiting factor will likely be the single piston calipers sourced from the last gen Honda Accord. But overall, this thing did great. Between all those track sessions and long stretches of highway driving in between, we didn't see a need to add any more coolant or oil during the process. In fact, the only thing that we noticed was some light blow torching on the front caliper dust boots, but it wasn't enough that we needed to replace them. So the Si is a potentially thrifty way to do track days with your new vehicle, but that affordability comes with some concessions. For starters, we had a love-hate relationship with this car's suspension. We loved how it handled, but hated how bumpy it could feel on our admittedly awful roads. Unlike the previous generation Si, you can't get adaptive dampers with this car. They're saved for its mechanical twin, the Acura Integra A-Spec. And overall, that's really unfortunate if you're like me and getting older and slightly creakier. Similar how Honda did away with adaptive dampers, there's also no way to get heated seats in the Si. That's frustrating because not only are Michigan winners, but heated seats are standard in the less expensive Civic EX. As it comes to actually driving this car, you still have the issue of rev hang. We've gone over this previously where during a full throttle upshift, the engine speed flares up in between a shift. That means you have to wait a long time to actually engage the next gear in order for it to feel nice and smooth. This really only happens though when you're really trying to drive fast and not when you're commuting because you're shifting a bit more slowly. Similarly, we love that this car has automatic rev matching on downshifts, and we like that you can turn it off and on depending on your preference. But what's annoying is that the only way to do it is through this touchscreen when the car is parked with the emergency brake activated. Fortunately though, this is something an owner would probably only do once or twice, so it's not that big of an issue. When winter came around, we put on a set of Bridgestone Blizzak WS90 winter tires that we sourced from Tire Rack. And this year's winter, you may have already heard, was pretty mild, so there wasn't much of a challenge to this car. The only thing that we'll call out though is similar to the Civic Type R, the last gen one that we ran through our long-term test, having a metal shift knob is just as painful in the extreme heat of summer as it is during the extreme cold of winter. Wear gloves. As for service, we had 3 visits that altogether totaled $382. The Civic uses a maintenance minder light that determines when it's time, and for us it called for an oil change at roughly 12,000 miles, but oddly not a filter change until around 23,000 miles. Our last service at about 35,000 miles called for both, and a cabin and engine air filter change as well as a tire rotation. As for repairs, the only thing we had to take care of was a cracked windshield courtesy of a rock on the road. That took about 2 weeks to get due to supply chain issues, and it cost us about $760. The Civic Si has many increasingly rare qualities. It's an inexpensive, fun-to-drive sedan that's sold exclusively with a manual transmission. That combination in and of itself is just out there in this day and age, but the fact that it's actually good too is just icing on the cake. This car did everything that we asked of it, from the commute to winter to the track days. And yeah, there are some downsides. We'd like to see another 30 horsepower, but what car wouldn't benefit from that? We'd also like to see a couple other small issues addressed, but on the whole, this was an economical, enjoyable, and flexible sedan. That, for the money, is a hard combination to beat.